Hello, I am Bert Janssen. Welcome back to the series of short videos in which I explain the book, The Organizing Principle, There Are No Coincidences. So far, we have seen different situations illustrating that the two aspects of synchronistic events, the physical and the non-physical, are not held by space or time. We have seen cases of premonition, precognition, remote viewing, whereby the non-physical precedes the physical. For instance, you think of a friend and moments later that friend calls. Or the other way around. We have seen cases where the physical was preceding the non-physical. First a card was drawn and then it was cast. And we have seen cases whereby a physical event in the now, in the present, like a crop circle or Stonehenge or Avebury, triggered through the organizing principle a non-physical event in the past, which then showed up as an inner knowing, a vision. But what about a non-physical activity in the now, in our present, changing a physical situation in the past? Around 1915, Catherine Maltwood, an English artist and author, becomes intrigued by the idea that the story of King Arthur and his knights might be reflected in the landscape surrounding Glastonbury. While studying the landscape and looking for indicators, Maltwood is very much focusing on the lion, which for her formed an integral part of the Arthurian romance. Then one day, while studying a map, Maltwood has some kind of vision, like Watkins had in 1921, Michel in 1967, Furlong in 1975, and I myself in 1994. Maltwood writes, "I shall never forget my utter amazement when the truth dawned on me that the outline of a lion was drawn by the curves of the Kerry River below the old capital town of Somerset. This was the most thrilling moment of my discoveries." As you can see, the outline of the lion is formed by the River Kerry and other landscape elements like roads, canals and field boundaries. Maltwood keeps studying maps, and because a friend hints her that she is perhaps looking at a zodiac laid out in the landscape, a whole new adventure starts for Maltwood, eventually leading to the discovery of what we now know as the Glastonbury zodiac. Maltwood's observations stirred up a lot of discussion and ridicule. The zodiac could not be real, because many of the elements that make up the effigies are of human origin and did not exist in earlier times. By building roads and digging canals and changing field boundaries, elements, human elements, were added to the landscape, emphasizing and sometimes even shaping the zodiac. The presence of these human elements was for many people the ultimate proof that the Glastonbury zodiac could not be real. But think about it. The people that were constructing the roads and canals and field boundaries were totally not aware of what they were creating. But they were nevertheless doing the exact right things. How can this be? As we have seen, many of the effigies did not exist in earlier times. So, did Moldwood create them herself? Although this sounds fantastic, it is very well possible. It is absolutely thinkable that by focusing on the effigies, Moldwood triggered the organizing principle to motivate the people in the past to construct the roads, dig the canals, and change the field boundaries exactly as they did. And with that, create the zodiac around Glastonbury. I recommend that you look up and study a scientific experiment called the delayed choice quantum eraser, which illustrates that the present can indeed influence the past. Again, there is no fiction involved here, only facts. Most interesting in the Moldwood case is a remark she makes in the book she wrote about the Glastonbury zodiac. In A Guide to Glastonbury's Temple of Stars, Moldwood writes, Alfred's Fort at Athelney and Camelot Castle at South Cadbury are both 11 miles from the Isle of Avalon. The sentence in itself is not strange, but it has no connection to the preceding text, nor to the text that follows. It just stands by itself. So why did Moldwood write it? Is it a key? We now know Alfred's Fort as Boroughbridge Mump. Camelot Castle is the Iron Age hill fort at South Cadbury. And the Isle of Avalon is, of course, the Glastonbury Tor. Boroughbridge Mump and the Glastonbury Tor lie both on the St. Michael line. And as we have seen in a previous video, the St. Michael line defines squaring the circle, based on surface areas. If we now add Cadbury, we again get squaring the circle, although now based on perimeters. Since the square, and with that the whole system, is rotated by about 10 degrees, we have arrived at a situation that the direction of the winter solstice sunrise as seen from the Glastonbury Tor exactly indicates squaring the circle, now based on surface areas. A truly fascinating series of synchronicities, again showing the importance of squaring the circle. While doing her discoveries, Catherine Moldwood was roaming around and studying a landscape that is held in place by squaring the circle, which activated somehow an inner knowing in Catherine Moldwood an inner knowing about a zodiac hiding in the landscape, a zodiac that did not exist in earlier times. A non-physical activity, Maltwood's inner knowing, triggered the organizing principle to change the world in the past, to change a physical situation. But if our present can change the past, then one would think that the future can impact our now, our present. In the following video, I will show that this is indeed true. I will see you there.